If we've learned anything from Jumanji movies and the Baldwin brothers, we know that whatever comes second is usually best. So today we're talking about two pentatonic positions. We're adding the second one to the game, and we're going to come up with some dazzling musical exercises, each one more impressive than the last. So if you missed the last video, all we really did was we talked about the E minor pentatonic scale, position 1, which looks like this. Open 3, open 2, open 2, open 2, open 3, open 3. But now we're getting into the realest territory you'll ever see. We're getting this guy right here, position 2, okay? So it's gonna start on a G note. We're doing this in the key of G, E minor, same difference. All of this stuff is gonna be movable. One of my favorite shapes here, okay? And if you wanna look at it, it's 3-5 on the low E string, 2-5 on the A string, 2-5 on the D string, 2-4 on the G string, 3-5 on the B string, and 3-5 on the E string. Now, the thing about pentatonic positions is when you learn one, you also learn half of the next position, okay? So that very first one, if you have that one memorized like you should by now, we have open 3, open 2, open 2, open 2, open 3, open 3. Now the second note on every string is going to be the first note of the next shape. They stack on top of each other, okay? So open 3. That means the third one, the third fret here is going to be the first note of my next shape. Open 2. The second note is the first note of my next shape. They link together, which the very first exercise we're going to do is we're actually just going to extend and play through both of these shapes from position to position, okay? So instead of just riffing through one position, we're actually going to play 2 positions worth of notes, so 3 notes per string, all right? Open 3, 5 is going to be the first one. So the first 2 notes of position 1 and the second 2 notes of position 2. We can just play them. All right? Now the next one is going to be open 2, 5. Now when you do it this way, you'll notice that you'll end up playing the same tone 2 times in a row because this is E, G, A, B, D. Okay, you'll end up playing 2 A's in a row, but I still think it's good practice, even though it might not sound like you're advancing through a scale because we keep hitting that same tone. It's good practice because we're kind of seeing how all of these mix together. Then backwards. Okay, so again, not super musical just yet, but it's a good way to kind of see where they come into play. Another cool thing to do, instead of reaching like this, you can slide. Because that's more of like a real world practical application where you can use like the cool slides and hammer-ons and pull-offs to kind of really start flying through these, all right? So that's just one way to do it. Another way a lot of people tell you to practice is to go forward through one shape, then slide into the next shape and go backwards. Again, that's a really cool one too. Go for it. Now the one that I actually like doing is to start ascending through one scale or one shape and then slide into the next one. Because then it's more of a continuous thing that you're kind of extending, okay? So what I did right there is I started doing the first 3 strings of position 1. Open 3, open 2, open 2. Now instead of playing the G note on the open G string, I'm actually going to slide to the G note on the 5th fret of the D string to kind of continue into position 2. So this is how we're starting to link these shapes together to kind of connect them in a more fluid way, all right? So position 1, open 3, open 2, open 2, slide into position 2, 5, 2, 4, 3, 5. And then you can use the same one to get back. Through it. But I think the best way to do is to challenge yourself and be able to slide into a different shape from every single string. And then maybe slide back into it. So if we start on position 1, maybe on the A string, we're going to use that as our slide into the next one. So open 3, open 2, 5. Then we can kind of continue through. And then on that G string, I use that to pivot backwards into what we have going on, okay? Now really, the main reason you want to do this is to be able to build just nasty killer blues licks, right? That's what the pentatonic scale was invented for. I think if we focus in on a selective number of notes, that's a really great way to do it. And I think, personally, one of my favorite ones in this position is to slide into this here, the G string 4th fret, okay? So if you take the G string, again, we'll walk all the way into it. 3, 5, 2, 5, 2, 5, 2, 4. That one right here, you'll tons of blues like start here, and then use the next 4 notes or so, 3 or 4 notes, all right? So we have this one, and then the B string, and the E string, right? So we kind of have this little box right here. 4G, 3B, 5B, 3E, 5. Now this is really a great thing that you can do, and this is where the kind of majorness of this shape comes into play. Because remember in the first one we said that this shape kind of hides behind an E minor chord. Now we're starting on a G with this one, okay? So this really kind of hides behind a G major chord. Specifically, if you use a G major bar chord, you take where your middle finger is right there, and there's that note that we were talking about, the 4th fret on the G string. That is a great place to slide into to really kind of start making some cool blues licks. You'll see this in a lot of different famous blues songs. Right? And that's all coming from this shape, which is hidden behind this form, okay? So really kind of focus sliding with your middle finger into here, because again, that's a finger you're going to use if you play bar chords. And then just start going back and forth through these notes. 4G, 3B to 5B, 3, even just these 4 notes. Skip around. Really, a lot of cool things can come from just this one spot. Okay? Now, another really cool thing that we can do now that we have 2 shapes that we're working with is to start double stopping through both of them. Because it's one thing just to see single notes as we're using them here. And again, that is really great for soloing, for making licks and stuff like that. But for kind of good fluid all around playing, you might want to start using double stops. Double stops where you use 2 of these notes at the same time to almost kind of play like little miniature chords, all right? I think pentatonic double stops are really great underutilized guitar sound that a lot of beginner intermediate players almost kind of skip because they don't think about it. So it is my goal in life to spread the double stops through the land, and we're going to continue right here, okay? So instead of going through, we're going to do both of these shapes, position 1 and 2, all right? So instead of just going through them as single notes, we're going to do 2 notes at a time, all right? So I'm going to play the E and the A string, both the notes in this scale, which the first shape is super easy because it's always going to be open. Remember, the first note on each string in position 1 is just going to be the same fret, whether it's an open position or like an A minor position. So if we double stop through them, it's just the first one's going to be E and A together. Now the next one is going to be the second note from the E string and the second note from the A string. So remember, 3 E and 2 A. Now if I play these together, it's like the beginning of a G major chord, right? A G in its major third. So I have. Now I'm going to advance 1 string down. So now I'm going to hit open A and open D. And then the second note in that position for both of those strings, which is 2A and 2D. So now it's kind of like an E minor chord. So you're going to see a lot more musical options with this kind of thing because we're already seeing the chords, or at least pieces of the chords, inside these positions, because all this stuff is linked together. It's not like you're playing lead or you're playing chords or whatever. Pentatonic playing is great for more than just soloing. It's also great to kind of see a lot of the chords behind a song and kind of maybe the options that you have to play over chords or extend chords within a song. So we've got the first one, open E, open A, 3E, 2A, open A, open D, 2A, 2D. The next one is going to be open D, open G, 2D, 2G, open G and B, 2G and 3B, open E and open B, and then both on 3. So the The next thing, which is really just a little bit harder, is doing the next position. Now, the only thing that we don't have the luxury of is using the open strings as our first of the 2 double stops per group of strings. But again, if we think of 3, 5, 2, 5, that's easy enough. That's 3 and 2, and then 5 and 5. The nice thing about this shape is almost 5 out of the 6 strings end on the 5th fret. Okay? We just have to worry about the G string as being the one that's the 4th. So it's just kind of seeing these patterns to really help you out. But again, the first one is 3E and 2A, then 5 on both. Then we have 2A and 2D. And again, a lot of these, the first of each of these 2 double stops that we're doing is going to be the second of the previous shape, which is one more way to kind of reinforce that the bottom of shape 1 is actually the top of shape 2. Okay? Alright? So those double stops are going to be the same. We're just really adding a couple of them down here. Alright, so we've got 3E and 2A, 5E and 5A. However you want to play this, 2A and 2D, 5A and 5D, 2D and 2G. Now here's where we have the one where that G string is the 4th fret, so we have 5D and 4D. Alright, the next one is going to be 2G and 3B. One of my personal favorites right here, sliding that right there to 4G and 5B. And then 3, B and E, and 5, B and E. So. And again, you can really kind of add these to the licks that you want to do. For example, the one that we did where it was and you can really kind of create a lot of, interesting 2-note double stop things, all just through using 2 positions of the pentatonic. So, again, a lot of different things you can do. Remember to extend the notes to kind of see these as 2 different shapes. Remember to maybe go forward and backwards through one of them, and then back through the other one. And really just kind of double stopping through. We'll give you some really cool sounds. You're going to start building your lick vocabulary through these different ones. And then we're going to add a 3rd one into the game next time. So if you have any comments or questions, hit me up on Instagram, Twitter, the comment section, or the website. I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks a lot.